Hello, everybody. So I have something that I don't know, maybe it'll stir some stuff up in some of you guys. Maybe it'll feel a little bit confrontational or controversial. Or maybe you'll be kind of thinking to yourself, yeah, but she doesn't understand my particular situation as I'm talking through all of this. And my friends, what I'm going to tell you today is truth. This is what I have learned in building my own businesses and now acquiring over 2,500 clients between my coaching or my business coaching over the last 8 years and my boot camp as well, and all my fitness coaching clients even before that. Is these are patterns that I've seen over and over again, and it's stuff that I've observed in people who are successful and who aren't. So this is truth. What I'm going to share with you today is fact, regardless of who you are, your circumstances, all of those things. So we're here today to talk about the mirror effect in your business. And I actually thought about calling this podcast maybe like show up or behave wisely or something like that, because all the strategy and tactics in the world won't help you build a business if your behavior is not aligned with the results that you want to create. So you can kind of think of this as like law of attraction or some type of universal law. And here's what you need to hear. Maybe you write this down. You can't create from a place of misalignment. Okay. You can't say you want one thing and then show up differently. Okay. And I'm going to break all of that down because we are truly mirrors for our prospective clients and our clients that we will attract. Okay. And we're also mirrors for the behaviors that we're going to recreate in our own businesses. And I can tell you from the amount of conversations I've had, thousands over the years, and the amount of years that I've been doing this, is that so many coaches say that they want a successful business. But when it comes to how they show up for others or for life in general, the last thing they can ever create because of how they're behaving and who they're showing up as is a successful business. And again, all the strategy and tactics in the world will not get you results. It will not fix it. You have to do the inner work first. You can't want great leads and prospects. You can't want lots of people saying yes to paying you a lot of money and happy clients and not emulate those behaviors yourself. So today, what I want to do is break down the mirror effect in business. That I wrote in my notes here, I wrote AKA the karmic storm. And you guys, the karmic storm is honestly, it's for better or for worse. You can set yourself up for an amazing karmic storm based on how you're showing up, or it can be really, really terrible. Okay. So just pay attention to each of these kind of points that I want to go through with all of you today. And notice if you are doing some of these things. How frequently are you doing them? Do you believe it's justified? Are you even conscious that you're doing them? I'm really curious to hear what comes up for you guys. Okay, so here are the things that you need to consider when you're considering the mirror effect in business. Number one is if you want to get paid as a coach, you better have at least one coach yourself. Okay. I actually have 5 right now that I work with, and probably more and more of like an interim format. So I am a huge believer in coaching. I don't believe that there is any time, any reason, any excuse not to have a coach. So if you want to have a business, you better have a coach yourself, right? If you want people to pay you as a coach. So this could be a business coach. That's obviously what I do. It could be a mindset coach. It could be any type of coach that's going to help you pursue a goal that's important to you that you don't yet know how to do on your own. You will not get paid well as a coach if you do not invest in coaching. And in my opinion, other people might disagree. In my opinion, you shouldn't get paid as a coach unless you invest in yourself as a coach, because why? You're like, yes, other people pay me for coaching, but I'm not willing to do that myself, right? It just doesn't work. It's coming from a place of misalignment. Okay. So that's kind of the first thing that I want to touch on. You better not expect to get paid as a coach if you're not heavily invested in coaching yourself. Okay. The second thing is you need to pay your bills and fulfill all financial obligations no matter what. Right. And even if you end up having to like work out something to where it takes a little bit longer, you better fulfill your financial obligations. Otherwise, guess what's going to happen is people are going to be ghosting you on your payments. They're not going to be fulfilling theirs. They're going to come to you with all of these different excuses. You will create that karmic storm for yourself. I guarantee it. Okay. So make sure that you pay your bills and fulfill all your financial commitments no matter what. Third thing, show up and do the work. Okay. The worst thing that you can do is say you want to have a business or get into a business coaching program or anything at all, and then not actually do anything. What will happen is you will bring on clients and they won't do anything and they won't get results because they are mirroring your behavior. Or you'll bring on, or kind of like prospective clients will come into your audience and then they won't do anything and they won't do the work and then they won't sign up as clients. You get to recreate those behaviors in your potential clients or in your clients that you are showing up with as yourself, right? The next one is if you like this happens, this doesn't happen to me very often, but sometimes it does. And I've heard my clients talk about this too. So this is a big no-no. If you're considering working with someone, coach, mentor, things like that, and you want someone to convince you to work with them or do the work for you, right? I'm a big believer that myself, my clients, anyone, none of us have to convince people to work with us, right? Because we know the value that we provide. We have the testimonials, we have the proven results. And even if you don't have that yet, you never want to have that like begging, desperation, hustling energy. It's just not necessary. There's plenty of people out there who will work with you who you don't have to convince, right? The worst thing though is when you want someone else to do the work for you, or someone wants you to do the work for them. It's just not viable. It's not realistic. That's not a way to build a business. It's not a way to transform your body, whatever problem you solve. So if you need people to convince you to work with them, or if you sign up for things expecting other people to do the work for you, you need to flip that because that's what you're going to attract. Okay. This is the next one that I want to talk about is a huge one. Please, 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 if you do this right now, change it. Okay. Change it. Trust me on this. And this is about saying later or putting off focusing on your business doesn't fly, right? So to me, there's no, oh, I'll catch the next round or I'll do it 6 months from now. That is a huge red flag to me. Okay. Because if there's no immediate urgency for someone to build their business and to change, the more time that goes by, usually the less urgency is there and it's just not going to work in the first place, right? So what will happen is if you say that, if and when you do start actually coaching, it's going to be harder to get your business started if you delay in the first place. But if you do continue coaching, guess what your prospective clients are going to do? They're going to be like, oh, I'll catch the next month, or, it's just not a great time. Let's like talk next summer, or whatever the case may be. You do not want to attract that into your life. It's very, very frustrating to attract people with little to no urgency, and you don't want to bring that into your business. Okay. Next one, allowing your spouse to dictate what you can do. Look, I have been married before. I am not currently, but I am a huge believer that you are passionate, that you are a professional, and truthfully, that you get one chance, right? You get one chance at this life, and no one and nothing can stop you from what you want to do. Even your spouse. Okay. To me, it blows my mind. It doesn't make sense. And my whole thing is when you're talking to a spouse about making a big decision, you ask for their permission, not, I'm sorry, when you're talking to someone, a spouse potentially, right, about making a big decision, you ask for their support, not their permission, right? Fight for what you want. I'm not saying fight with your spouse, but I'm saying stand up for what you want. Be clear about what you want. Be unapologetic about what you want, because no one who loves and supports you should tell you no, right? Or not believe in you, or whatever the case may be. And again, if you kind of allow that, if and when you do get into your business, or if you're in your business, you're going to see that you get a lot of that same objection back, right? Another thing, you should not, if you want to be successful, you should not put up money objections over being resourceful. And that's no matter what. And everyone is not on the same playing field. I understand that different things happen in life. But I do believe that there's always a way. If you're resourceful enough, you should see the things that I have seen people come up with, and some of the things that I've had to come up with, right? Because my dream and my goal was so much more important than, usually it's just like fear around money, right? It's not necessarily access to resources. But if you put forth money objections around your business or your life a lot, guess what you're going to attract? You're going to see a lot of that reflected back to you. Another one, looking for reasons why not to do something, right? So, like if someone wants to join your coaching program, or let's say my coaching program, just for the sake of the example, and they're like, oh, well, I can't do it because I can't make that call time, right? or really anything other than focusing on the results that you desire, if you're looking for reasons not to do something, then you are going to attract people who look for reasons not to move forward, not to take action, not to do something, which obviously we don't want to do. And then the last one that I want to talk about, I just think that this is a really big one. I've posted about this before and it got a huge response. And I think it's because so many of us either struggle with it, on like being on the receiving end of it, or have done it, right? And probably need to own up to it. And this is something I am very committed to not doing, okay, for anyone. And hopefully you are too. And this is ghosting, right? And I believe that ghosting is the ultimate sign of emotional immaturity. And, usually people talk about ghosting when it comes to dating behaviors, but in the world of business, it's also very prevalent. So, ghosting is this idea that you just simply stop responding. You abandon a conversation that is going, and it's the sign of emotional immaturity off of which you cannot build a wildly successful business. And that's for two reasons, right? It's because of how your behavior is going to be reflected back to you in your people when you show up that way. And ghosting in business, I find, usually happens around some type of uncomfortable situation or interaction, right? And it's easier for the person ghosting to go quiet rather than to experience any discomfort in conversation or be challenged in any way. And even more so, I think that a lot of the time when people ghost other people, it's because they're being forced to confront themselves in a scenario that's more than they can currently handle. Right. And so if you're going to be successful in business, it's going to be full of difficult conversations, uncomfortable moments, and really things that you have to deal with when you would rather just walk away and not entertain the conversation. But you guys, growth doesn't come from avoiding difficult situations. So have that difficult conversation rather than walking away and ghosting someone. Say no, right? If that's your answer. Speak your truth, but do not run away, which is essentially what someone is kind of like virtually doing when they ghost you. And I would put a lot of money on the idea that people who ghost other people don't make very much money because, again, it's a symptom of so much more maturing and emotional work that really needs to be done. So, that's just a little bit of food for thought. And all of these things that I just touched on today are in violation of one of my golden rules in business, which is to show up for others how you want people to show up for you. I'm going to say that again. Show up for others how you want people to show up for you. And again, since we are mirrors for our clients and our potential clients, if you practice ghosting behaviors, you can better believe, or you better believe that they're going to come back to haunt you in your own business and your own income. So ultimately, in summary, if you don't want clients with a million excuses or objections, don't be that person yourself. Show up in every way how you want people to show up for you in your business, from client behavior to all the interactions and outcomes with prospective clients. Be the person that you want to receive, okay? Because as I said in the beginning, you can't create results from a place of misalignment. You can't say you want great clients who say yes and they're all in and they do the work and they pay you on time, and then you not be that person yourself. You can't be hypocritical and create results from that place. And you guys, also, I just want to say there's no exceptions to any of these rules, aside from maybe like death or severe illness or like something really drastic. But the truth is that life is busy for everyone. We all have obligations. We all have commitments. And I learned this way back in my boot camp is that most people think they're in a unique position, right? Most people, maybe some of you guys can relate to this, but most people think they are the busiest person on earth. Okay. I had the conversation so many times with hundreds of people about why they didn't have time to exercise, why they didn't have time to eat well, and they really legitimately believed that that was true for them because no one could understand their situation because they just had more going on than everyone else. And it's just not true. I promise 99.9% of the time you're not in a unique circumstance. I've seen people build businesses with, I'm not kidding, 8 children and a full-time job. Like it can be done. Okay. And besides, circumstances only stop you if you let them. So if you're allowing external circumstances to stop you from moving forward, that's a really good area of opportunity for you to look at changing, because we all have to push through tough circumstances to get to where we want to be. Everyone who's going to create extraordinary things has to push through really tough and maybe sometimes seemingly impossible circumstances. But if you've heard my episode on the 5% rule and heard me reference it, it's only 5% of coaches, again, who are going to do this extraordinary thing because they're able to push past those circumstances and they're able to show up in a way that is a direct reflection of how they want other people, their clients, their prospective clients, to show up for them. So, you guys, this is a little bit, I do think that this is a little bit of a confrontational episode, but it needs to be said. You can't be your own worst client or your own most frustrating prospective client and create awesome results. Because again, you have a mirror effect in your business. How you show up, what you do will be reflected back to you. Again, it's kind of like law of attraction. You can't create from a place of misalignment. So my intention with sharing all of this with you today is if you are, first, if you're doing any of these things in your life or in your business, stop doing them, right? To immediately start to attract and create better results in your business. And then the second thing is maybe this highlights some areas of opportunity, right? Maybe it highlights some opportunity and you're like, oh, shoot, I thought that I had a strategy problem, but really I'm doing these things that are now being reflected back to me that I don't really like. Okay. Because again, I just want to say it again, we create a karmic storm in our lives, in our businesses based on our own behaviors. And that storm can be a wonderful, beautiful thing, or it can be absolutely horrific. Okay. And it's all our choice because we always get to choose how we show up, how we behave, how we act, how we think, all of the things. Okay. So I would be so curious and so honored if you would share your feedback with me. And you can do that over in my free Facebook group. It's Authentic Conversion Organic Six-Figure Fitness Business. You can send me a DM on social media. You can shoot me an email, Nicole@convertauthentically.com. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.